Media TV. My name is Ali Ilya. Matters that concerns you as a consumer, where we educate you on goods and services and fight for your interests and protect your privileges.
Is the commission, does it. We do investigate bank. So when you lodge a complaint with the bank, and after 2 weeks, maybe you didn't get a response or you are not satisfied with their resolution,
TSTV connected your.
Welcome to Consumer Community, where we discuss issues that are related to consumer protection, consumer education, and also we discuss more about your privileges. Over time, we'll be looking at what concerns Nigerians, how you have a better system in place, better process, better turnaround, and better service delivery. Today, we'll be discussing about women and the youth. And as you know, majorly, if you look at Nigeria, statistics now, we have about 70% youth dominated society, and also we have women that are part of virtually everything we do. So today we'll be extracting the impact, the achievement, also what can be put in place to have a better youth society. Perhaps if you look at it from now to next 30 years, we'll be maybe having an old society. And by the time we have old society, most youths now that are in their youthful age, perhaps they are 30 years now, next 30 years, they will be in old society. And that old society will call for more challenges. How well are we planning for that? What are we putting in place? Then we always see our women as also as a weak gender. I wouldn't know if my guests will agree that they are actually weak gender. But the way society put it is as if they are more weaker. But for me, we are both very, very good in our own different ways. Today, joining me is, I call Her Majesty, because we'll be discussing a lot of issues that relates to the youth and the women. She is the executive director, Lola Kita for the Needy Foundation. She's Ololade Ogunubi. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's gladdened our heart to have you today on our show, because over time we thought there's need to talk about the level of protection on the youth, level of protection on women. Perhaps don't you think men do not need protection as well? Maybe we should start from there.
All right, I feel everyone needs protection, irrespective of your gender, either you're a male or a female, which is that's the only gender that is recognized in Nigeria, right? So yeah, I know over time, or shall I say from generation to generation, it's been this saying that men could stand on their own, men don't have to cry, men don't have to show emotions.
We
and
do
all.
these days. We don't even hide it.
Yeah, because you don't hide it now. That's because there's been so much advocacy going on. The organization just finished a 1 month mentorship program for boys. And one of the questions one of the boys asked is, my grandmom told me that I'm a boy and I shouldn't cry, that boys don't cry. Like, no, let out your emotions. So these are like I said, these are cultural beliefs from generation to generation. But trust me, in modern day society, yes, men need protection. Everyone needs protection. So if men need, then definitely the women and youth also needs protection.
So you don't only cater for the youth and the women, you also cater for the boys. So there's common saying that when you have a well-trained man, the society will be better for it, because these men will later cater to the need of the what of the women in the society and also the upcoming children. But by and large, can you tell us basic things that you have been doing over time about women in particular now?
All right, so my organization works with women and youth, so we call them the young girls. So use young girls and women, and we from the organization we do more of advocacy and empowerment. So when it has to do with advocacy, we advocate for girl child education. We want every child to be educated, irrespective of your class, irrespective of your home, irrespective of the society norms and all that says, oh, women are good in the kitchen, so why should a girl child be educated? And that we've been doing over time for the past 4 years. And likewise, when it has to do with empowerment, to empower women and youths, right, to get a skill, because that is very, very important. In short, when you break it down in so many ways, you understand why women or young girls should have a skill of their own. It shows you can stand on your own. You don't have to be dependent. I'm not saying women should be dependent on their husband and all, but it just shows a class. And to say, oh, okay, if a man can do this, yeah, definitely a woman can also do it. So that way, we try as much as we can to empower women and see how they could get a skill. So majorly, that's the two
All
things
right,
for
looking
women.
at women and girls, as you rightly said, if you want to check now, do you think Nigeria has moved in terms of girl child education from where we are before? Perhaps have we moved at least to some level of percentage, bringing that side by side with what we have before? Let's say 10 years back compared to now. How well do you think Nigeria has done in terms of educating or providing enabling environment for girl child?
I don't want to use the word it is now worse, but that's the reality. I attended a UNICEF event where we had principals and head teachers from schools as far back as Katsina, Meduguri, and all. They were involved
Is
in
it only for the north
children
or
kidnapping. No, generally they had,
right?
but these are like the specific about children that were being kidnapped from school.
Okay.
And I could hear one of the principals talking about how his child was kidnapped, and when she got back, like she was rescued years or months after. But she got back with this mindset of I don't want to go back to school
Why?
because that was where I was kidnapped in the first place. That was where I experienced all of this in the first place. So it is also hard for we that were in the social space to start advocating to parents to tell them, let your child be in school. Now, according to the man, he shared experience of how his girl child said she doesn't want to get back to school. In short, her picture was taken and said, if you are found in any school, we are going to kill you.
Nice.
So now that is of the opinion that I've been a principal for years. You have to be educated and you have to be in school. But this girl, the psychological effects, what she was being told in captivity and all, wouldn't want to make her. And now when you go back to some parents and say, oh, we need your children to be educated and to be in school, they refer back to, oh, so and so child that was in school was kidnapped, and for years we're still looking for them. So I feel these are one of the effects too. And the economy is not smiling. Let's all be realistic here.
Let's just look at let's chronicle the challenge Nigeria faces over time concerning education. If you look at some states now, you discover that going to school is becoming a problem, especially northwest Nigeria, northeast Nigeria, whereby most children are even saying that it's better they stay at home. But if you look at that, it has a causative effect. Looking at the Boko Haram menace, kidnapping, and all sorts of things, that is discouraging enough. But at this age, I was thinking maybe there will be another way of making sure these people get to learn. Maybe there should be a community learning rather than going to that maybe an outskirts where there could be problem. Because if you recall, most issue that we have concerning girl child kidnap, maybe the school is outside the community, like Chibok, they are outside the community and secluded. Perhaps if we decide that everything should come to the city, do you think that would be of help?
Yeah, I think that would be of greater help too. Because when you meet people from Maiduguri, for example, and you ask them, oh, I don't want to travel to your state because I heard it, they'll tell you the state, like the town is safe. There has been no record of, oh, maybe kidnaps and or within the town. So yeah, I feel government should look into it that way. And also for those that were displaced from their home and they were being taken to the IDP camps
Right.
too, they were, I don't think government are not trying, but still it felt like an abandoned set of people.
But apart from that, because we are looking at consumer protection here, to those that are in the IDPs, do you think they are well protected? Are they not being abused? These are the things. As a lady, you know what it means for a lady to cater for herself. She needs a very a kind of a privacy where she can change. You understand what I'm trying to speak on. So is there availability? Is there a check over that? Is there a protection for them? Is there a special program that enables them that now if you want to change your this, change your that, you can easily go, or they still share it with the old women there, men, children? Is there anything different?
Ah, geez, unfortunately, there's no difference because it's so sad when you visit some of the camps. It's a visit that I had. We have 17 IDP camps in Abuja, And it's
17 IDP,
yes,
you
we have
say?
17 IDP camps in Abuja. I just found that out.
But I don't think that's official. I'm not sure that's official because the official we know is not up to 17.
Yes,
Whopping.
17. I'm sure most of us are used to two, which is the Durumi and the Nyokochingoro.
Kuchingoro, yes.
Yes,
Please.
so unfortunately we have 17. And I've been able to visit some. And I've gotten contact for all the
And to balance the needs, are you sure those are not self-made? Because that's another thing we need to look at. Because most people believe that once you are in IDP, you don't become government property, and government needs to take care of you, right? So because of that, people now will just spring up, and they started asking. Because I knew personally, I've visited these two IDPs severally to cater to support and what have you. So don't you think it's self-made IDPs?
Alright, so there was actually one I visited. It's called Malaysian Garden, just after Apo resettlement or Apo mechanic.
Okay.
And when I was making the inquiries, they said it has even been there since the days of Obasanjo when he was a president. And I was like, wow, so which means it is not just about those that are currently internally displaced. There are also people, probably refugees and all, yeah, for a while.
So the government actually have package for refugees.
Definitely.
The most of them are not even Nigerians that they are catered to their. So moving ahead, will you say Nigerian women, girls are protected, and at what percentage will you give that?
I don't think we are. So speaking as a woman and as a youth, I doubt it. And like I keep telling people, it's not going to be better overnight. We'll keep advocating and we'll keep talking about it. And in terms of percentage, maybe 30 over 100.
30 over 100. That's quite challenging.
Because there's like
there are more things to be done.
So many
to
things.
Make sure
so many things to be done. You know, every time you see pictures and videos online, and people just laugh it off, and you're like, no, this is not something you should laugh off. This is probably like sexual harassment, for example. Or you visit a place and you're being mandated to do what you're not meant to do. There are so many things that needs to be advocated for. There is the gender pay gap, for example. And I know we are getting there.
No, when you talk about gender pay gap, I'm aware of contracts and a lot of contracts. Sometimes even they are favored. There's a way they place that women are even much more advantaged at getting that contract. Listen, in fact, they said there's a clause that said if they quoted a particular price, you should consider them before you consider men at that level. Or are you ladies not taking advantage of that?
Sir, women are taking advantage. That is where.
I didn't get you right. Are they taking the advantage or not?
Let me put it. I remember when I was in a particular country 2 months ago, and we asked them. They said, "What are you guys practicing in your country? Is it democracy?" They said, "Yes, on paper." So I'm going to bring it to Nigeria too. That most of these things are usually on paper, but in reality, you meet bosses that will tell you that is the government, whatever. Government is not paying me. This is where I make my money for. So I decide who I want to favor more. I had an example. I know when I was working, when I tell me, what do you need money for? Why the salary increments? What for? But when you talk about a guy, salary increment, for example, it tells you, oh, you know that this person has
responsibilities.
Not all the women don't have responsibility. We have enough.
No, I agree. You do have the responsibility.
Yeah, so I'm trying to cite
in fact, in some family, women cater more for the family. In fact, they are breadwinner, firstborns especially. You have a lot of things to provide and what have you. But I think there should be, in terms of pay, I am an advocate that once you're at that level, you should be paid at that level. So now, moving forward, let's talk about Nigerian youth. I want to talk about Nigerian youth. It's a very big discussion too. Are we even conscious of our age, even with the youth? That's another thing. There's a way you, as a youth, discover yourself, discover your purpose, know what to do, without you being coerced or educated towards that. Like example, the election is coming now. Do we need to go and tell a Nigerian youth, get your PVC, go out and vote, fight for your rights? I think this age, people should be conscious and be aware of it. And like I said in my intro, that you are youth today, you are going to be old very, very soon. And at that point in time, what will you show? What will you be able to reckon with? That is what you have done. So far, yes, there's a lot of unemployment. Yes, we agree there's unemployment, but there are other ways of sustaining yourself. So can you just give us a brief about Nigerian youth and the state of Nigerian youth?
Oh, gee, state of Nigerian youth. I don't think we are floating, but it's so nice. I keep telling people that when you see youth in Nigeria, they're actually making and they're conscious of their efforts, especially when it has to do with the SDG Goal 8, right? This sense of an economic growth. You have people that are actually, okay, this is what I want to do. I tell people something, when I started my organization, I started for me volunteering at the camp and going to a community. And when I got to the community, when I was meant to be doing my voluntary service as a school teacher, you get to class and students are not in school. When you go for your clearance, you're hearing the women in the community boasting about how their girl child, that is not even up to 15, is going to be married off as the fourth wife or fifth wife. And I just thought about it, like, see, there's more to life than you people thinking I should just marry off my child, or a youth is sleeping off. When you go to some places and camps, I'm like, you should be doing something. You don't have to wait for the government to tell you what to do. Just like you said, you have to sit on your own and think about it. Just like ASU is on strike, for example. I keep telling people, what are you doing at this particular point in time? Are you still waiting for urgent 2K online, or you're looking for giveaways? Who will give us giveaways and all? Well, when you check out like youth from other countries, I feel some countries even give like students go for summers, go for works and all. How are we thinking in that light as Nigerian youth? So it's not everything. I keep telling people, government is not going to do everything for you. Likewise, the humanitarian space will not do everything for you. But in your own little way, how are you making sure that this way, as a youth, so I keep telling people something. I said, it doesn't cost you anything to wake up one day and tell to yourself, I want to make a change for my family to start with, then my community, then you start advance from your community to your state,
country,
to your country, and you're going worldwide.
Global.
So, but if we all keep sitting, I remember I heard a picture one time. I said most Nigerians are like wheelbarrow. You have to push
You have
them.
to put, in fact, to buttress that, because we need to speak to Nigeria. I went to some countries in Africa, and you know what I discovered? These youth in this country are so committed that, in fact, they call the place country of 1,000 hills. At this country, you see youth using bicycle to transport people, and they collect money. Do you know the funniest thing? It's a hilly community that you have to use. When I saw this, I said, look at people so committed. They're not waiting for government to do everything for them. But Nigerian youth are, so to say, most of us want everything to manners to fall from heaven. But let's now flip the discussion now. Are we having the enabling environment enough to make Nigerian youth flourish? That is the question.
As far as I'm concerned, there is enough. I remember being on a panel discussion with the Minister of Youth and Sport, and there's like so many opportunities available in the ministry that Nigerian youth don't take cognizance of. Our last event, we had NDE, right? They were sharing so many job opportunities that is available there. All you just need to do is to go to their website and check. I know we've lost trust in the government, but notwithstanding, just try. You might just be that one missing piece they were actually looking for. And if that is not working for you as a Nigerian youth, there are virtual jobs online. That is like
that's
the in thing.
Another space. And if you look at Nigerian, virtually 75% of Nigeria have smartphones. We are always on social media, chatting. But at what advantage are we doing this? And that's the problem. Because if you go to like this most countries in Africa, they have a kind of hub where they meet, they discuss, they have a focus. Perhaps there are a lot of, in fact, you can even work. In fact, I got to know that even in Nigeria here, you can have a kind of virtual call center where you'll be paid and you'll be making calls in your house. You don't have to leave the house. You don't need to go to four-wall office and things that work. But the thing is, how do we now educate this youth? How do we tell them that you have to take charge of your life when you are within this so particular age?
I tell people, go online, research. I don't know what people do online, but I know once I go online, there are days that I just want to go to a primary and see opportunities and all. And there are days that I just probably see a word somewhere and I just want to go and research about it. Or I see like an article or a write-up somewhere and I want to research about it. I feel if we as Nigerians start thinking that way, there's so many opportunities that we are just I was telling someone so of recent, he said he learned ITEL, like, okay, you're now in school learning ICT and all, what is your future plan? And like, and he does not know, like, why are you now in this school if you don't know? It means for you to even actualize a dream in the first way, you have to start working towards it. You don't wait till you get that certificate that you're in school. Or like, what happens to you? There are Google Workspace, yes, that you can sign up to that. They're actually free. There are Google, what's the word? There are courses online, they're actually free. Imagine you having digital skills training from Google that is free. I can walk into an organization and tell you, I'm a digital marketer just with that certificate. It shows I actually went through a verified organization and they actually taught me something that I can put out to
So
your
now,
organization.
let's now come to government. How will government now make sure these people are aware of the availability of this knowledge? Because another thing is, let's say, let's just use that youth exuberance. Let's excuse that we do not know what is happening. So how do government comes in here to show to the Nigerian youth that this is what you can do, this is what you can, because sometimes they are not well communicated to the public. So how do you think government can do that?
All right, so I keep saying that's the job of NOA, and it still feels like, I don't want to say
National Orientation Agency.
Right? I don't want to say they're actually not working with the government or they're working with the government, because it feels like that is your duty. I don't know how the communication system works.
Because it seems some advocacy are even ahead doing what they are doing, and these people are not government supported. They are doing the advocacy every now and then.
So I think we need to start doing a more call out to NOA, like, oh, this is your job. So what happens to all of these? We get SMS at times, randomly.
That is when I think the one I used to get is when there is going to be
a lockdown.
No, exactly. Simulation. When there is going to be simulation, that be aware we are going to do this, we are going to do that. Not the one informing us. Perhaps it's become so easier since you know that every youth has their hands on their phone. So if there's any communication that comes around, it's definitely move ahead and get to them directly. So I think, but when it comes to election, it's become much more easier to communicate because as you know, Nigeria. So now we having looking at the NOA, we also have Ministry of Youth. Ministry of Youth, because I do know they have some couple of programs that are youth oriented, as it were. But don't you think even having sports, having youth, is it going expected to be separated? Because look at sport itself, it's a gamut of activities. So don't you think there should be youth focused ministry on its own?
All right, so I've consulted for the ministry like a couple of times, and I've realized that there are actually people that actually do different things. So when it has to do with youth, there are departments that are actually focusing on that. I think they have like 3 major departments that focus on the youth. And I know some other countries.
Is that enough?
It's not enough. Trust me, we are much.
Because you said 70% of Nigerian citizens
I was going to come to that. Right. Yes. So you can imagine probably have like few departments to handle 70% of the population of the country, and it's so much. It's a whole lot. But like I said, most of the thing that we need to get out there is the orientation. It's the information, because we can't keep going for meetings, going for seminars, going for summits, and the minister comes to tell you there are 1001.
Right.
And we're like, where? How? The informations are not
there.
So I feel if any ministry, in short, irrespective of not just the Ministry of Youth and Sport now, any other ministry that feels, oh, we have something that will be beneficial to the Nigerian youth, I feel for every of those summits, for every of those meetings, NOA should be in attendance.
All right.
So we know that as we are leaving,
yes,
they're also doing their publication.
Right. So NOA should be at least there communicating to people. Dear audience, you have been discussing with Lola Ololade Ogunobi, ED Lola Kita for the needy. We're going on a breather now. We'll get back to you shortly. Thank you. Consumer community on BRTV. My name is Aliyu Ilya. Matters that concerns you as a consumer, where we educate you on goods and services and fight for your interests and protect your privileges.
The commission, does this. We do investigate bank. So when you lodge a complaint with the bank,
To consumer community, where we discuss about your privileges, your rights, and also educate you on all what you need to know. My guest has been Ololade Ogunledi, who has been educating us, telling us about advocacy around the youth and women. Ololade Ogunledi.
Yes, sir.
Now, we do have election in the corner. That's the task we must all face squarely. There is election coming up in February, and soon there will be open door for campaign. And who are the tools for this campaign? Purely, it's majorly Nigerian youth. Now, what is the benefit of a Nigerian youth in the coming election? What role should Nigerian youth play? How conscious Nigerian youth should be? These are the questions that we have in our hand as a Nigerian youth. Olade, what is your position in all this?
Oh dear. Okay, so Nigerian youth has so much to play, and not just Nigerian youth. Trust me, women are also to use them in
Yeah, but there are girls and women among the youth, so
women, not young girls.
all right.
All right. So yeah, youth play a major role in almost everything. So either from campaigning, elections, voting, and all. But my advice to Nigerian youth is, see, it's not about social media.
Election is not on
Election
social
is
media.
not online,
That's a campaign on its own. That election is not on what? On social media.
Yes, please. So we need to stop being behind our keypads, chatting and posting things online. We all need to be involved. I currently visited a country, and till date, I'm still mad. Even though we are on their WhatsApp group, it felt like the Nigerian we want. Because
they are committed
yes,
youth.
their youths are, and it's so funny the way they interact with their elected public officers.
They are conscious.
Today, I could see how the presidential aide on youth was chatting with the youth in the group, and like not in my country, even local government.
Maybe you are not in the WhatsApp group.
I know what I'm
Maybe
saying.
possibly someone is doing that. Maybe you are not in that WhatsApp group.
I know what I'm saying. I've been in some that has aid for our current Minister of Youth and Sports. He or she does not need to say anything on that group. So I know what I'm saying.
Perhaps maybe Nigerian youth are aggressive. That could be another thing that we need to look at.
Probably. So
Nigerian
that's
youth
why
might also be aggressive to our leaders. These are another thing that we need to look at very, very well and change our orientation towards being aggressive. Perhaps, like I told you, I went to some countries too. You see, their president is not even on siren. He moved like a common person on the street, and nothing happens. Do you think even a councillor will go about in his community without a policeman? Is that possible in Nigeria?
No. But at times, if you have to really look at it, as far as it is your community, you're being elected into that position, I don't see why there should be a bridge between you and those that elected you.
Maybe trust issue.
Still, if you're doing your job,
security challenges.
if you're doing your job perfectly well as an elected person into a public office, I don't see why you need all
So what
of
should
this.
the youth be doing now that it's election period?
Please, you should take charge, come out, apply for, put up as many positions as you can. That is, if they allow us, in quotes. And I keep telling people, on election day, please, we shouldn't be out there playing ball. We shouldn't be in our houses. That shouldn't even be a day for cleaning the house. It is a day for us to
The field
emphasize.
day.
Yes, it's a day for us to, express our rights as Nigerian youths, right? And also, please, I keep telling people, I remember the last election, even though the advocate was not as much as we would have wanted, but at least few people still picked up to it, which was on election day, they were there, after monitoring their votes. They were there to ensure that the proper and the right vote was counted.
Right.
So not just about the agents, party agents doing the counting and staying there. We as youth should also be involved.
So now, vote, don't fight. So thank you. We've been having a wonderful discussion with Ololade Ogunubi, the Executive Director Olola Kita for the Needy Foundation. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. At Consumer Community, we believe in processes, and processes is what leads to any delivery that you want. And when we talk about process, it's not only for government. Yes, government must make sure they follow the due process, create process, and create human-face processes. Also, every citizen is expected to key into these processes and everything work for all of us. So if we did not focus on create the process, follow the process, make sure the process is even improved on, we will not have a better society. So for me and you, we need to create the process through government, and we need to follow the process. Thank you for being part of today's program. I see you in the next edition. Thank you. Consumer Community of BRTV. My name is Aliyu Ilya. Matters that concerns you as a consumer, where we educate you on goods and services and fight for your interests and protect your privileges.
The commission, does this. We do investigate bank. So when you lodge a complaint with the bank and after 2 weeks, maybe you didn't get a response or you are not satisfied with their resolution,